So, good morning everyone. We are the group 4 and we are here to present to you about our reports about Taoism. So, Taoism, also known as Taoism, these terms refers to either a philosophical school or religion that share ideas and concepts of Chinese origin and emphasize living in harmony with the Tao. So Taoism functioned as a philosophy of abandonment and withdrawal from the rampant warfare and social unrest which characterized the reign of the Zhou dynasty. The ultimate goal of Taoists was to conform to the great pattern of nature which is called the Tao or the Way. As a philosophy, Taoism focuses on the great mysteries of the Tao. As a religion, its goal is to achieve long life and ultimately immortality.
I'm here to talk about the historical background of Taoism. Laozi or Lao Tzu, meaning Old Master, is believed to have authored the Tao Te Ching, Tao Te Ching, or the Book of the Way in its power. Dating back to around the 3rd century BCE, according to myth, Lao Tzu was conceived by a shooting star and was born of a virgin mother who kept him in her womb for 82 years. Lao Tzu was said to be born with flowing hair, which signified that he would become a wise man. He is considered as the first important Taoist who is believed to be a senior contemporary of Confucius. Some said he even became Confucius' advisor. Although there is much debate on his date and identity, the Chinese historian Sima Qian wrote a biography of Lao Tzu in the historical records, Qi. In the late 2nd century BCE, according to Sima Qian, Lao Tzu's family name was Li. His given name was and he was also known as Tan. According to his biography, he worked as a government archivist, but became frustrated with government corruption, and sensing his unavoidable disgrace, he left Chu and was detained at Hankou Pass by a gatekeeper named Yin Hisi, who requested him to write a book for him before leaving. Lao Tzu agreeably wrote 2 chapters about the Tao Way and the individual power, which came to be named Tao Te Ching or Lao Tzu.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Laika Artaleza, a reporter from Group 4. So now we're gonna talk about Lao Tzu. He is commonly considered as one of the founders of Taoism and is frequently used to refer to the original or primordial Tao. Although it is debatable if he really existed, the Tao Te Ching, the text attributed to him, is believed to have been written in the late 4th century BCE. Lao Tzu's philosophy. Lao Tzu's philosophy advocates naturalness, spontaneity, and freedom from social conventions and desires. In the Tao, which means the way, Lao Tzu refers to the ultimate order of things and ultimate basis of reality. Now, I'm gonna share to you one of the line of Lao Tzu. Um, Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Sacred Scriptures of Taoism, with the 2 most important of these texts being the Tao Te Ching and the Chuang Tzu. These texts give the modern world a glimpse into the ancient Taoist beliefs concerning the nature of the universe and the life of man. Tao Te Ching translates very roughly as the way of integrity, an important kind of wisdom in a world where many people believe such a thing to be impossible, while Chuang Tzu emphasizes the rejection of the abyss of ambition and the push for perfection that society forces upon the individual. Divisions of Taoism. The modern Taoism falls into main categories: the Southern Taoism, popular in Taiwan, and South China and Northern Taoism. Let's talk about first the Southern Taoism. is an offshoot of Chang'e Taoism, the only liturgical tradition surviving today. Its priests still perform liturgies like the Chow, believed to harmonize the local community with the cosmos. They also perform healing rituals and exorcisms in public. The Northern Taoism. The outside world knew little about the existence of Northern Taoism, rather. Few foreigners were allowed to enter the Chinese mainland under conditions that allowed them to experience the country's religious culture. Nor- Northern Taoism grew out of the Chan Chen tradition. It emphasizes moral and spiritual discipline and also continuous self-preservation practices that date back to the classical Neiye. Beliefs and doctrines of Taoism. The core of the basic belief and doctrines of Taoism is that Tao is the origin and law of all things in the universe. Taoist believes that people can become deities or live forever through practicing certain rituals and austerities. They also practice the philosophy of Wu Wei, or inaction. Simplicity and living in harmony with nature is also the important Taoist principle. Taoist observances and worships. Taoist rituals involve purification, meditation, and offering to deities. The details of Taoist rituals are often highly complex and technical and therefore left to the priest, with the congregation playing little part. A Chinese Taoist temple, generally called gong or miao in Chinese, the holy hall where Taoists perform the religious ceremonies or where they worship. Taoists stand facing cast to honor the direction as it relates to spring. It is common to plant a garden with sprouting greens. An ancient traditional game involves trying to stand an eggplant upright. It is believed that if you can make an egg stand upright, you will have a good luck.
Typing King Jiao. Dai Jiao is a Taoist ritual for thanking gods and asking peace and rest in the area. It's generally called Taiping King Jiao in Hong Kong. The frequency of Dai Jiao in Hong Kong varies among different communities. Some are held annually like Chong Chao Taiping King Jiao, which took place in the fourth month in the lunar calendar, while its in Chong Shui Yong held every 60 years. The Chong Chao Taiping King Jiao, well known as Ban Festival by foreigners, provides a platform for the residents of Chong Chao to showcase their rich folk traditions every year. So, basically, typing Jing or scriptures of the Great Peace is the name of several different Taoist texts. At least two works were known by this title. Typing Jing usually refers to the work which has been preserved in the Taoist canon. It is considered to be a valuable resource for researching early Taoist beliefs and the society at the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty. Zhang Choi, the leader of the Yellow Turban Rebellion, taught typing Taoism based on his work. The contents of the Taiping Jing are diverse, but it primarily deals with subjects such as heaven and earth, the five elements, yin and yang, and the sexagenary cycle.
Zhuangzi, the Book of Zhuangzi. Zhuangzi, 369 to 286 BCE, was regarded as one of the champions of Taoism. His insights were an expansion of Laozi's view of the Tao in Tao teaching, just like Laozi. Zhuangzi believes that nature is above culture and that the individual is above society. But if you will compare him to Laozi, Zhuangzi is more deeply concerned and emphatic on the importance of self-preservation. This concern was brought about by the condition of his society during the time when the society generated from disorder to total anarchy following the Warring States period.
Hello, I am Ivan Yangot and we are going to discuss about Wowie. So, what is Wowie? Wowie means no behavior or doing nothing. It also means to do without doing. Wowie or actionless activity. It is a concept used to negate or limit human action. It refers to the cancellation or restriction of human behavior, especially human activities. So, in other words, Wu is an ancient Chinese concept, literally meaning intersection, inaction, or effortless action. Wu emerged in the Spring and Autumn period, and from Confucianism to become an important concept in Chinese statecraft and Taoism.
So what's up everyone, my name is CJM Garbosa and I'll be reporting Yin and Yang. Yin is a symbol of earth, femaleness, darkness, passivity, and absorption. So basically, it's the bad side we all have. And Yang is conceived of maleness, light, activity, and penetration. This concept explains that everything contains opposite sides and depends on the other to form a whole. The balance with yin and yang were seen to influence health and order within individual, society, and entire universe. So basically, yin is darkness and yang represents light, and we all need yin and yang to have a balanced life.
Now, as natural order refers to continuous reversion of everything to its starting point. Anything that develops extreme qualities will invariably revert to the opposite qualities. Perversion is the movement of the Tao Laozi. Taoism, introduction, the Chinese term Tao means road or route. Confucians use the term Tao to describe how people should behave in society. In other words, Tao was an ethical or moral path for them. So based on my understanding, all originates from and return inevitably to the Tao. In Tao's journey, undifferentiated unity becomes municipality. This continuous passage from nothing to something and back nothing contains both life and death. Yet the underlying unity remains constant.
So now, let's discuss about Taoism practices. Taoism practices includes stillness meditation, internal alchemical meditation, ritual, martial arts, life nurturing, through diet, qigong, and living in harmony with the seasons and calendar. There are Taoist temples where adherents hold their religious practices. Taoists integrate in their religious ritual and practices some elements of Chinese folk tradition and other popular rituals. Their practices involve several assimilations of Confucian practices that are closely associated to ancestors' worship, such as offering incense and burning paper money. Traditional Taoists does not learn towards religious worship of deities. However, as other religions, such as Buddhism, entered China, the teachings of Taoists have been modified. So, Taoism teaches about the various disciplines for achieving perfection through self-cultivation practices. This can be done through the use of Taoist techniques and by becoming one with the unplanned rhythm of all called the Way or Tao. And the two founders of Taoism are Lao Tzu and Zhuangzi. So that's all.
So, hello everyone. My name is Kent Vasquez and my topic for today is all about the D. So what is the D? D is essential in how we flow and are authentic to our essence. From a Taoist perspective, it is natural to look more inward in defining D. However, on average, more people than not tend only to focus and look outward to define D as morality. To do what is right, to cut it down with judgment and then force yourself to fit into society at a higher level. D represent how to best balance the social force. At a personal level, D represent how to flow and grow to your turn from your own stories. D, we will always see many levels on interplay between person and culture to sum and up. D means the inherent force and power that moves the world and makes people and animals come to life. It can be held to a greater or lesser degree. B, a superior and inferior when strong and radiant, it imparts itself to others in good government, this resulting in a virtue situation and imbuing it carries with virtue and the original of virtus. Thank you.
Central to Taoist worldview and practice is Qi or Qi. Literally, the Qi means breath, air, or gas, but figuratively, Qi is life force that which animates the forms of the world. It is the vibratory nature of phenomena, the flows and tremoring that is happening continuously at molecular, atomic, and subatomic levels.
I Ching, or Book of Change. The I Ching contains teachings about change. The I in the title has different meanings. It could mean easy, change, exchange, or simple. These meanings are the focus of the book. The book uses some simple, easy to remember symbols and signs, as well as views concerning change as the most fundamental description of the world. The I Ching uses the symbol of a lizard to describe the nature of a change, as a lizard changes its color to adapt to the environment as a form of survival mechanism. The I Ching calls on humans to know and master the dynamics of change and how to adapt to it. The I Ching considered as one of the 5 classics of Confucianism. Today, all of the versions include the interpretations of Confucius. Confucius revered very much the teachings of the I Ching, to the extent he would love to spend much time of his time studying change so that he would be free from mistakes. He once said, "Give me few more years so that I can devote 50 years to study I Ching. Then I may be free from great mistakes." This only means that despite competing views between Taoism and Confucianism, they both share a scripture that somehow would explain why Taoism and Confucianism easily converge later in Chinese history. The I Ching mentions the 2 basic components called the yin and the yang. A divided horizontal line represents the yin, while the depicted by an undivided horizontal line. But what distinguishes one from another is their shade. The yin is represented by the dark shade, while the yang is represented by the light shade. The yin and the yang incorporate each other through a circle. You may notice that within the shade of the yang is the dark circle, which represents the yin. Within the shade of the yang is the light circle, which represents the yang. The yin-yang dualism also explains various changes that occur in the world. For example, the yang is commonly attributed to the sunny, warm, strong, or active, whereas the yang is usually characterized as the shady, cold, weak, or passive. Such explanation of the changes in the world are represented by what is called the 8 trigrams, namely sky, earth, mountain, lake, thunder, wind, fire, and water. Each symbol is explained thoroughly in the I Ching. The I Ching basically shows that every situation in one's life has its root cause. To know the root of this situation makes a lot of difference in approaching and in dealing with the kind of situation as one into. The I Ching, or Book of Change, is considered the oldest of the Chinese classics and has throughout history commanded and surpassed prestige and popularity. Containing several layers of text and giving numerous levels of interpretation, it has also captured continuous attention for well over 2,000 years. Women in Taoism. There is a scarcity as to the literature and data concerning women and Taoism. Taoism is like the Confucian school, advertently did not say something serious about women. Even Zhuangzi did not mention anything related to women. The sparse records of the classical period had very little to say about women practitioners in Taoism. Zhuangzi may have mentioned a few female characters in his text, but he did not give serious notes or ruminations on them. He simply mentioned female as a plain literary characters without any real allusions to female persons themselves. Thus, we cannot make sound historical conclusions concerning the role of women as found in the canons of Taoism. What is clear in the text of Taoism is the presence of male practitioners. Although the term male was not mentioned in the text, the term the sage referred to men. The women in Taoism hasn't been mentioned that much, nor has given a serious notes and ruminations in them. Although Zhuangzi mentioned female characters in his text, but he simply mentioned them as a plain literary characters without any allusions to female person character themselves.
So, in Taoism, there are also selected issues. So, first is fatalism, which propagating laziness or espousing a fatalistic attitude in life by letting nature take its course and reminding Taoists to just go with the flow. Next is superstition, which means belief in superstitious practices. Last is urban development, which means emphasize the balance of opposite and the interdependence of all things. So, all in all, to understand more about Taoism, Taoists believe that everything comes from the Tao. Tao means the way. Human nature should be aligned with the rest of nature to achieve harmony and balance. Living in harmony with nature is the way of living with the Tao, which lead to good health and long life because there is a balance of yin and yang. Therefore, the ki flows freely. So, in Taoism, life and death are mere phases of the ki, according to Taoist. In Taoism, they have no concept of heaven and hell as compared to other religions. So that is our report for this day. I hope you learned some lessons. Thank you and have a good day.